He revealed to the BBC he's longing for reconciliation with his family, but that his father, the king, isn't speaking to him.
I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile. As I learned through the First Nations throughout Canada, because of the Invictus Games, their goal in life was always truth and reconciliation. And I turned around to them in many conversations and I said, right, but reconciliation can't come without truth. Well, I've now found out the truth.
So it used to be a sit-down interview with a royal, like this was extraordinary, but we're starting to see it more often. And I wonder, Cristo, if he went into this without thinking. If he sat down for other reasons and just splurged.
It's outrageous, to be honest, that he would expect a reconciliation for his own actions. He is the one that has created a situation by throwing these accusations, remember, of racism when the late Queen Elizabeth was seriously ill, when Prince Philip was literally on his deathbed. Unfounded allegations, because we don't know, there was no real detail about any of that. Writing a book where he gave away the most, incredible secrets about the family, whilst then complaining about privacy, and now giving this interview saying he doesn't know how much longer his father's got left. That's not information that he has the right to share. And again, it's just this constant framing of himself as some sort of victim when he is the perpetrator of a lot of the animosity that has been created. I think he's disloyal. I think he is, he doesn't have good judgment. I think he's dreadful.
Well, the line from insiders at the palace is that the king doesn't want to talk to him because he can't trust that it would be confidential. And there would be a reason for the king thinking that, wouldn't there? That Harry might go out and give an interview about the whole thing.
I think you're right, Jeremy. And I do think, looking at the statement that he made, which people took offense with the line he used that he doesn't know how long his father has to live, which I think was completely innocent from him. I don't think that he meant... It's a very normal sentiment from the child of a parent with cancer. But this was taken, of course, by the press and exaggerated. And he has put himself in the public eye even more. People have a lot of animosity towards him and Meghan Markle and how they have damaged the royal family. But I disagree with you, Cristo, that there is no evidence of racism in the royal family. I think there very clearly is evidence of that. There have been comments that have been surfaced. And
what about saying what colour the baby would be?
Yeah, things like that. And I
never found out who was supposed to have said that, though.
Yeah, but still, I don't think that it is. I think it is very logical to assume that there is racism in the royal family.
But what evidence is there of that?
It's not the kind of thing that if I was Prince Harry, I would come out and say in the way that he did.
Right. Can we pause and we'll take a break and we'll get back to this because loads of people want to talk about it. Should King Charles reach out and make up with Prince Harry? Harry says he's longing for reconciliation with his father. Is it too late to apologise? Give us a call now with your thoughts. First, should King Charles make up with Prince Harry? We're taking your calls on this 020 7862 2222. Prince Harry has told the BBC he wants to reconcile with his family because he doesn't know how long his father has left to live.
I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has,
See, the thing about I don't know how much longer my father has suggested maybe a bit of an inside knowledge that he shouldn't be airing. He described being denied high-level security as a good old-fashioned establishment stitch-up and says he feels he cannot bring his children to the UK to show them his homeland or to see their grandfather. He said this was a choice which could easily be solved by King Charles.
It's not really a case-by-case basis. It's an either-or. If you're invited to the UK by your family, then we will give you security. If you come for any other reason, then you will get a very low amount. There's only so much that I can do and operate and function within the UK when it comes to supporting my charities, visiting my friends, all of these things. So, I've been treated very, very, very differently to everybody else that exists. All examples that exist, past, present, I have been singled out.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. He feels so strongly.
But he's acted differently to any other examples, because the other examples haven't sold
left.
books and given endless interviews slagging off the family.
He did leave as well. But let's see, Lynn in Suffolk. Do you have some sympathy with him or not, Lynn?
Yes, I do. I've changed my mind entirely, Jeremy. I listened to him and I felt such innate pity and sadness, because after all, I think magnanimity is within the gift of kings. And I think Charles, as well as being king, is a father. I also think that because all those many years ago, when he was but a child, as a result of both King Charles and Princess Diana rampaging between partners and carrying us on, Diana was stripped of her HOH title and of royal security. And who knows, if that security had been in place, would his mother have survived?
Yeah.
A lot of play is going on here, and I really feel that it would be good for the king as a father, for him to actually grow in stature in the country's eyes, in bringing Harry back into the fold, which he clearly obviously wants.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Lynn. The sources in the palace were saying at the weekend the king can't trust Harry to keep any conversation secret, which I sort of understand. But I wonder whether, Stella, he's just basically trying to do all the stuff that would have saved his mother's life. Leave the country, insult the family, ask for more security.
Yeah.
She'd still be alive if she'd done that.
Yeah, he's a traumatized child, and he's completely. I think that people will have sympathy about his desire to live a life that he doesn't know how to live, because he was raised in a very irregular environment.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really know how to live a normal life. He doesn't really know what to expect from life outside the royal household.
Do you think, as well, this occurs to me, that he hasn't forgiven his father for his affair with Camilla?
Well, perhaps. I mean, that could well be the case, and maybe that's where some of those accusations stemmed from. But I think that if the question is whether King Charles should reach out to Harry, the last time that there was a meeting between King Charles and then Prince Charles and William and Harry was at Prince Philip's funeral. That ended up being chapter 1 in Spare. So I'm not surprised in the slightest that King Charles says that and the people around him say, look, you cannot trust that any conversation you have won't end up being in a new book, because everything now is through the prism of, unfortunately, him selling product or Meghan selling product. The more that they keep these things going, the more that they can sell, the more that they can do documentaries, the more tea towels and jam they can sell us.
Yeah. Shelley in Newcastle upon Tyne. Hi, Shelley.
Hi, I've got a couple of things to say. He's on about forgiveness. Meghan's dad tried reaching out through telly and he was slated. So Harry is doing the same thing, but people feel sorry for him and they've not forgiven her poor dad, who's been seriously ill. And can I say as well, Margaret, Andrew, Edward, their children don't get security. Margaret only gets security when she's doing stuff for them. And Harry's been to one of the worst places, Nigeria, Ukraine, and he lives in one of the worst places for gun crime. Yeah. And he calls our country bad.
Well, one of the reasons he's got security problems is because he boasted about killing 25 Taliban, and that is not something you should do as a soldier, apparently. So, yeah.
That's his fault, isn't it? It's not our taxpayers' fault.
He wanted to pay for it himself, remember. All he was asking was, can I pay for the Met to protect me? And he was told, no, we're not a commercial operation. So at that point, it all fell apart.
Can I just say we can't even get a policeman in our area?
Well,
So
yeah.
why should he be able to pay for it when we can't get it and we pay taxes as well?
Well, you raise a good point, Shelley. And that, of course, that's a good... People might say, well, hang on, if Harry can buy a protection squad, can we just buy one policeman for our neighbourhood, Stella?
Precisely.
I'm not sure it's exactly the same thing because Harry is part of the royal family. I mean, whatever he does, he's not able to make himself not born into the royal family.
Yeah, there is that. He can't unprince himself. And as he said in the interview, I am who I am. I cannot be anyone other than who I am. Thank you, Shelley. Johnny in Leeds, is there some way the king... If you're king, you can do anything, right? So the king can say, look, forget everything. Forget Spare, forget the racism allegations. Come back, give me a hug.
No, I don't think. I don't think while Camilla's pulling the strings that there could ever be a reconciliation with his father, because she's scheming and she's caused more trouble for the royal family than Harry could in 1,000 lifetimes, which seems to go unnoticed this past 44 years.
What, Camilla's the sort of wicked witch, you think, do you?
Yeah. Well, how would you live? I was lucky. I got until we got great with my stepmother, Billy. I was very lucky there. But how could you face a woman who's gone out destroyed? Notably, she's apparently campaigning for abused women, and yet she abused Diana for 44 years. You know, all of Diana's remaining life from being a teenage bride, from which she befriended her. So how could you, as the son, possibly live with a woman who's done all those sort of things?
Well, some of that...
William manages it okay.
Yeah.
William manages
Well,
it okay.
he was older when it happened. I think that's
only
why.
by a couple of years. He has to spend way more time with Queen Camilla than anyone else. Also, I loved Diana, but there's plenty of blame to go around about what happened to Diana. This is more than just Camilla. This is Harry, I think, being fairly spiteful towards his family with some of his actions.
Well,
Johnny,
I think the spiteful person is the one who got what she wanted all the way along on the throne.
Very
and
interesting.
I think you're all grovelling to her now. And I think if Princess Diana was sat on this panel, you would all think how you used to do. Those of you with that short memories. I mean, she's anti-fur, and yet she's been a fox hunter all of her life. What does that tell you? The woman is devious.
Yeah, well, listen, Johnny, you're not the only one to say Camilla's responsible for all this because she should have left Charles alone. But Charles was the prime mover. He was the one who met her in a railway carriage the night before he got married to Diana. And they got a cufflink saying Fred and Gladys on it. But that's so long ago, Johnny. Don't you forgive stuff?
No, because I think
No.
when someone's shown their true colours to that extent, I think I can see exactly what she is, and all this licking up to loose women and Lorraine Kelly and even your own Vanessa, who used to loathe her. You know, it just does not wash with me.
I'm sorry, Camilla could have. Can you imagine, right, before all of this took place, Camilla could have sold her story for millions. It would have paled Harry's book into insignificance. But she kept her mouth shut and she showed incredible loyalty to the king, who is now very happy with her. He is a better king as a result of being with Camilla. Now, does that make her perfect in all of her past endeavours?
Well, Diana
not.
was a bit of a victim. Johnny, let me ask you, what age are you, may I
You
ask?
watch that girl suffer.
Johnny, what age are you?
For mental. I'm 62.
Oh, OK, right. So I was wondering whether you sound like you're like 30. You've got a very young voice. I thought, blimey, you've come into this kind of late. But 62, so we're almost the same age. So you remember 1997 very clearly when Diana died. That was terrible.
Yeah, and we watched her suffer while that woman, no matter what bad press she got, she kept her claws in, and Diana had the right name for her, which was Rottweiler.
OK.
And I really think we lost the best
you've had a
queen
good
we
shout.
ever had, apart from Elizabeth, in Diana.
Of course, that would have been great. But Charles wasn't driving the car, for crying out loud. Thank you, Johnny. It shows people still get cross about the betrayal of Diana as they see it. Young woman.
Yeah, my mother from Greece felt extremely embittered about the betrayal of Diana.
Yeah, well, we all love Diana. After the break, we're taking more of your calls. But now, more calls on Harry's interview, and he longs for reconciliation because he doesn't know how much longer the king will live. 0207 862 2222. Wendy in London, what do you think of it?
I think Charles should forgive Harry. He's the head of the church, and the church preaches love and forgiveness. So, as a father, he should forgive him
What's he forgiving him
and
for?
have a
Let's just-
reconciliation with him.
What do you think he's forgiving him for? I just want to be clear.
Whatever he thinks he has done wrong.
Okay, well, should we go through a list
in
or?
his mind.
Yeah.
No,
Chris-
whatever Charles thinks that Harry has done wrong, he should forgive him because he was forgiven. He committed the gross sin of adultery, was forgiven. So now, as the head of the church, he should forgive Harry and make a reconciliation because the church is all about forgiveness and reconciliation.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. Julie in Devon, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. What do you think of what Wendy said?
Well, okay, so I'm against the king forgiving Harry or whatever, or meeting and reconciling. I'm totally against it. I agree with Wendy that there should be reconciliation, but it should be private reconciliation. I think that the only reason that he's gone on the TV is to get the publicity to probably write a third book and make more money out of the royal family. And I wouldn't trust him to do it whatsoever. I'm actually quite aggrieved, really, that we spend so much of our airtime on the radio, TV, discussing him. He made the decision to leave, so leave. And I think the two highest courts have made.
He's still
highest courts
Sussex.
have made a decision, haven't they?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but he is still Diana's
if you went
son.
to court, but I still think he's made his decision, and you can reconcile in families without going in the public eye. I think I just think it's childish. I honestly do, and I think that what King Charles does by raising the profile of cancer and everything, they're a good family. I really do think they are, and I think that Harry has other things on his mind, such as how he can make more money for himself by degrading our royal family, and I'm totally and utterly against it.
Well, he certainly worked out how to lose money because those legal cases have been so expensive for him. Thank you, Julie. Alexis in Buckinghamshire, do you agree with Julie?
Hello. Well, basically, if there's any forgiveness, as a Christian myself, that should be done in private. But I am so angry with Harry, so angry with Meghan, right? She's the catalyst of this all. And at the end of the day, if you marry someone, you don't encourage that person to go on telly and slag off the royal family. I'm black, and whether the royal family is racist or not, I don't give a damn, because black is killing black anyway. So at the end of the day, the knife crime is mainly us black stabbing each other. So if the royal family is racist, that's their problem.
Well,
I have nothing against the royal family, but with Harry now, from the time he wrote that book, Spare, disrespected Prince William about a fight. No one needs to know these things. Stop beating your family in public, Prince Harry. Leave them alone.
Agrees.
And
You
Meghan,
agree
as
with
a
this?
wife,
Krista agrees
you
with
need
this.
to tell him to calm down.
I absolutely agree with you, and also the I understand people's frustration.
I met Diana so many times. She was lovely. Meghan is not like Diana. Diana was a peaceful English rose. I was born in England. Yes, I'm black, but I am against bashing your family in public. My dad has remarried somebody, and he's very happy.
Why are you
and I'm
against
happy
Meghan?
too.
Why are you against Meghan?
Come on, and the reason why I mention that, with Camilla, if Harry's got something against Camilla, you just can't help who you fall in love with. You just can't.
Well, I don't know about that. What do you think about
people
that?
could say the same
No,
about
but
Meghan.
you can't help
Well,
who you
I
fall
don't
in love with.
know. I think that's, the idea that, there's a character in Desperate Housewives who says, the heart wants what the heart wants.
Yeah, but
This is not this license for just basically unrelenting unfaithfulness.
well, yeah, because what Charles did is he ruined Diana's life by lying to her, by convincing Diana to get married to him, when she could have had a life where she too had the opportunity to get married to someone who is in love with her, not with someone else.
Yeah.
Clearly, that was not given
That's
to her.
the firm word right there.
Diana would hate what is happening now. And Diana, I don't believe, would support Harry with what he's doing now.
Well, he wouldn't be doing it. If she was alive, he would be a different person.
Well,
The reason
yeah, okay,
he's
and
like he is because she died.
I take that, but this idea that in some way now he's honouring her memory by doing what he's doing, he isn't. Because if you remember that Panorama interview, she was absolutely adamant about wanting to make sure that she was preparing William to be the best king he could be. Well, Harry isn't doing that. Harry's throwing grenades at William.
Well, maybe Harry is jealous of William as well.
He absolutely is.
Yeah, Alexis, thank you. Andrew in London, hi. Wow, what a knotty issue we have here.
Yeah, first of all, I'm so ashamed of that last woman. I find her words just not right. This is about...
well, okay, so because she said she doesn't care for the royal family are racist because black is killing black.
Using the black. I'm black too, but I mean, come on. And the guy on your panel, this is a father and a son situation. We all are parents. We should tone down the language between father and son. King Charles is a good man. Okay, he's done a lot for a lot of people. This is his son. His priority, especially after Diana, who, may I say, wrote a book too, and many royals have written books. But this Harry and Meghan bashing constantly, the media has got to stop and start looking at this as a family situation.
All right.
And not using them for bashing, because it's not helping Charles.
Andrew, thank you very much. Thank you for all your calls.